October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. It's a time to mourn those who have died as a result of domestic violence, a time to celebrate those who have survived, and a time to connect those who are working to end domestic violence. In studio here today is Clerk of Courts Stacy Butterfield, Tracy Beebe, Manager of the Family Law Department at the Clerk of Courts office, and Janie Stratton with the Peace River Center's Domestic Violence Center. Stacy, start us off and tell us a little bit about the clerk's role in assisting domestic violence victims.
Sure, thanks Taylor. You know, the clerk has many roles, but as part of our responsibilities, we provide assistance to victims who are seeking an injunction for protection, commonly known as a restraining order. And you know, in the United States, there's some staggering statistics about domestic violence, and I'd like to share that with you. Let me just read that. Unfortunately, 1 in 4 women and 1 in 7 men in the United States suffer physical violence at the hands of their spouses, intimate partners, or even family members. Additionally, 3 out of 4 Americans personally know someone who is or has been a victim of domestic violence. When applied to the state of Florida alone, these statistics are so staggering and show what a tremendous impact domestic violence has on our local communities. So in the clerk's office, when we provide assistance to those victims seeking that injunction of protection, we have a part of our mission statement that says we will furnish assistance to anyone, these victims, any of our customers, in a compassionate and understanding manner. And we hope that we can help be a part of the end of domestic violence.
Now, Tracy, will you explain a little bit more of what we do here in the clerk's office to help those victims?
Yes, I'd be happy to, Taylor. The Clerk of Court's responsibility is to furnish assistance to victims seeking injunctions for protection. Now, that has a real broad meaning, but here in Polk County, we take it a little further. When we furnish assistance, we actually have a staff of trained victim assistants and other domestic violence staff members who know the process from start to finish. They work one-on-one with the victims who come in to seek injunctions. You know, there's more to it than just telling us what happened. There's a mountain of paperwork that goes along with that. We provide a comfortable, safe environment for the victims to meet with a victim assistant one-on-one to help them through this mountain of paperwork in seeking their injunction. We explain to them what it means, what the process is going to be, and then at the end of the process, we also tell them what it means when they receive their injunction, what they should do if the injunction is violated, or where they can seek other services if they need, you know, additional assistance with relocation or child care or things like that.
And I understand our service here in Polk County is a little different. While all clerks have to provide some level of service, here in Polk County we do a little bit more. Can you talk to that?
Yes, I think our program is unique. One of the things that's really unique is we have a family law waiting room where victims, once they come into the sanctuary of the courthouse, they're in a secure environment. They can go into the family law waiting room and they can stay there all day if they like, if they don't feel safe leaving. And you know, sometimes the perpetrator is still at large when they come into our office. The person hasn't been arrested, or you know, it might not have even been reported to law enforcement at that point in time. They can actually stay there. A lot of times you may have a mother who comes in with several children. We have the waiting area set up so that it's comfortable for children. We have videos for them to watch. We have books. Some of the employees have even donated stuffed animals and toys for the children, and we give those to the children to keep them busy while the mother or the father is taking care of this really serious issue.
Okay, can you walk us through, you know, say someone unfortunately finds themselves or someone knows someone in a situation. Can you walk us through from the time they enter the courthouse kind of what they can expect?
Yes, I can do that. They would come into our counter, and the customer service clerks up front would kind of explain the process to them, you know, briefly, so that they know what they're going to go through that day. They begin by filling out a demographic information sheet with basic information, and then it's explained to them what they're going to do as far as writing their statement. Once they get that completed, they will go into the back into a private cubicle with a victim assistant. These victim assistants have been specially trained on the issues of domestic violence, and they know how to talk to the victim and make them comfortable, They're in a private location. They walk them through what can be a daunting amount of paperwork, because you are actually filing a lawsuit, a court case that's going to go to a judge for review, and it has to be done in a certain manner, to make it stick, and for the judge to be allowed to enter the injunction under the law. And we help them with that to make sure everything is just exactly the way it should be. Okay, and then at that point, the victim is given the opportunity to either leave and take care of other business throughout the day, or they can stay at the courthouse in a safe environment. We then hand carry that petition to the judge. The judge reads it and decides, what is appropriate to do under the law, and then the person can come back later in the day and pick up their response, which we will explain to them at that point.
Okay. Even if you're not in a violent situation, as Stacy shared with us in those statistics, we probably know someone who is, which is staggering. Can you talk a little bit about the situation here in Polk County and what we're experiencing here?
Yes, I just looked at the numbers this week, and in 2013, we had over 3,300 injunctions for protection, including domestic violence, stalking violence, and dating violence. Those are the three types that would typically involve people in intimate relationships and partnerships. That's an incredible amount. And if you think about it, the numbers of people that are involved, if you add the victim and then you add the batterer, that's 2 people. Most of the time, you could average 1 to 2 children. That brings it up to 4. You take the parents of those people or friends, and it begins to multiply. And you can see, if you have 3,300 cases and you multiply it by that number of people, it's very easy to see the statistics that Stacy mentioned of 3 out of 4. 3 out of 4 people know someone. You can see how that number can be arrived at very easily, very quickly.
And another unique factor about our service here in Polk County is that we have a tight partnership with Peace River Center's Domestic Violence Center. And Janie's here joining us today, and she's their outreach advocate. Janie, can you talk a little bit about your services to the community and how you help victims?
Yes, I sure can. My office is actually at the courthouse. I work hand in hand with the injunction office, and it is very unique. A lot of places do not offer that assistance to victims. I do crisis counseling to them. I go to court with people if they want someone to go to court with them for their injunctions, or anything with their criminal cases, I can do that. I also offer relocation if they need that, and I give them referrals out in the community to different agencies who could assist them in several different ways.
And as we mentioned, it is unique, so much so that even the judges have grown to respect it and have taken note of it. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Well, they have, and I really appreciate that, and I know that my clients do also, because when they see me in the courtroom, they are very aware I'm very active on the Domestic Violence Task Force, as well as other things, and I go to their courtroom very often, and so they see me, they respect me as being a professional person working at the Domestic Violence Center, and they know when I'm there that I am offering the assistance that these clients need.
And it enables you to better serve them by being able to join them in the courtroom.
That is correct.
Yes, I see. You mentioned the Domestic Violence Task Force. Tracy, could you talk a little bit about that and how that's helping Polk County and better serving victims in Polk County?
We have a wonderful group of people who come together every other month and meet. The group is called the Domestic Violence Task Force. And the task force is another thing that's mandated by statute that should be occurring in every county, but we think ours is probably, we think it's the best, of course. The number of people that show up for these meetings, it just amazes me. We can have anywhere from 20, 30, 40 people, and if we have a special speaker there, it may even be more than that. Just to let you know some of the people who attend, we have usually the family law administrative judge is the chair of the task force, so you have the courts involved. We have a member of the family bar is usually there representing attorneys. We have law enforcement. A good number of the local agencies, law enforcement agencies in Polk County are represented from the Sheriff's Department, the local police departments. Peace River Center, of course, is always there. We have people there from the Probation Department, Department of Children and Families, the school board, legal aid. So you can see that most anyone who has a stake in families or the issues of domestic violence in the community is represented, and that shows that, I think that shows the level of respect everyone has for what the task force does.
Yes, and I think that's a tremendous benefit to Polk County, that all these
Yes.
service providers regularly come together so that they can better improve their services they're providing. Janie, tell us a little bit about the Domestic Violence Symposium that'll be occurring in the month of October.
Yes, the Domestic Violence Task Force is organizing a Domestic Violence Symposium to offer training and education to the workers out in the field, to educate them more, get them connected, and give them the domestic violence training on the latest things that are happening, especially with technology today. It is a way that many abusers use to control their victims. And so we're offering new training that is good to educate us all, because no matter how many years you've been in the field, there's always something new that we can learn. And so that's why we're offering that to the community.
Okay, and let's talk about the Survivors Memorial that's coming up.
Oh yes, on Monday, October 13th, at the park right behind the courthouse here in Bartow on the corner of Main Street and Broadway, we are having a silent witness, which is a memorial at 12 o'clock noon till 1 p.m. to remember, like you started off today, of remembering those that have become victims of homicide because of domestic violence. Too many times someone gets killed, we watch the news, it's over in 30 seconds. Some of us remember that for a little while, but guess what? Those families don't ever forget that. And so we offer this to come and to respect them and to honor them and to remember and to help educate people more every day. We cannot educate it enough on domestic violence to the community.
Okay, so that's October 13th, Fort Blount Park in downtown Bartow at noon?
Yes, ma'am, it is.
Noon to 1 o'clock.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, wonderful. And Tracy, you mentioned we had a waiting room and we collect books. Can you tell us a little bit about the book and DVD drive that your department's hosting in the month of October?
Yes, I can. This is something we're really proud of, and it really makes a difference. Several years ago, we started trying to figure out how we could help the children that came into our department, and there are a lot of them, and they're very noisy. And they also distract. You know, you'll have a parent trying to give a statement, and you know, they're trying not to let the child hear, you know, too much about what they're saying, but they're back in the cubicle, you know, doing an interview. Or maybe the child is fussy, maybe they've been there all day, maybe they've had to be taken out in the middle of the night by their parent, you know, to a shelter or something, and then they come in, so they're tired and fussy, and we're trying to help and do our job and get them in and out as soon as possible. So some of the staff members started bringing in books, and we noticed the children just absolutely loved it, especially if you said they could take it home with them. So we did a drive just with employees, I think, the first time, and we got a tremendous amount of book. No child left that office without a book. Sometimes we gave them 2 books or 3 books or 4 books. They were there for so long, but it really makes a difference. You know, if you say, you can take this book home with you if you'll be really quiet while your mommy talks to the nice lady, these children just, it works like magic. Another part of the drive is a DVD drive, and we have those with all of the wonderful children's films that we can show while they wait in the rooms. Of course, the parents, they like to watch it too. You know, you put on The Lion King, it makes someone forget their troubles for just a little while, and it keeps the children, they sit on the floor and watch the TV. It really helps out a lot.
Wonderful. Well, I thank you, ladies, for joining us today and talking about domestic violence and all the initiatives going on throughout the month of October. Stacey, I'm going to toss it over to you to close us out today.
Well, thank you, Taylor. You know, domestic violence is a prominent issue, and in Florida, as well as all across our entire country. And so the Polk County Clerk's Office joins along with all of the Florida court clerks to stand ready to protect community leaders and lend a helping hand for those in need of domestic violence assistance. We work very closely with the local sheriff's office, ensuring that both safety and justice are achieved for victims and their families in the event that a domestic violence incident occurs.